Welcome to the 27th edition of Tiny Lab Talks. Tiny Lab Talks are brief and informal talks between specialists invited by the University of Aveiro and from the University of Aveiro itself, throughout the American Corner program, on topics such as technologies, innovations, research, and culture. The conversations will usually take place at the UA's American Corner Media Lab with the support of US Embassy in Portugal. Today you are in the Reitoria building since we are running Campo Jazz Festival organized by the University of Aveiro. The topic for our talk is focused on percussion since we are drummers and percussionists. I'm Mário Costa and I'm here. I want to give a warm welcome to both our guests today. I'm here with join Mark Giliana and Eduardo Cardinho. So we are here to talk a little bit about the music, drums, percussion. And Eduardo?
Life.
And life. So, what do you think about, we talk already a lot in the masterclass, but be a musician nowadays, in 2024, what do you think about it comparing with a musician on the 60s or in the 70s?
I don't know, but I will say it feels like today playing your instrument is almost becoming a smaller and smaller piece of the equation. It feels like, especially as we were talking about writing our own music and leading our own projects, the work that gets introduced to bring your own music to life is a lot away from the music. Whether you're self-producing a recording, all that goes into making a recording and releasing that into the world, trying to book some shows and figure out what hotel to stay in and the flights and all these things, and figure out where the money is going to come from to pay for these things. There's a lot, and at times, if we're not careful, and I want to hear from you guys, sometimes the music is last on the list, So I try to keep the music and the expression as the main motivator for all that other work, because that work is not fun, but I'm willing to do that work if it can lead to the payoff of a personal expression. So sometimes, speaking for myself, I have to remind myself that that is at the core of all this.
Yeah, it's a painful job because nowadays we have to do everything by ourselves, and that's what you were talking about. We have to practice. We have to find gigs, and we have to play the gigs and to write music. But at the same time, I sometimes I just forget about that, and that's bad because probably I could get more gigs if I focus more on the booking gigs. But in Portugal, in our country, sometimes it's difficult to have managers or bookers to get our bands out of Portugal. And also what you were talking about, the costs of the travels and
Logistics.
Yeah, the logistics. So we don't have so many sponsors to do that. So sometimes it's a little bit difficult to play out of our country. So I don't know. It's a problem that we have here in USA. I think is different, and there's a lot of different experts. You invented jazz music. Is a
Me?
No, you're not. You guys.
You are part of.
And well, that's why you travel a lot, and everybody wants to listen you guys because you know the language so good, and we study it. But Yeah, for I think in Portugal we are in constructing this thing, this this idea of having people in this industry carry the musicians out of Portugal and exporting our music and our bands out.
It's a nice question, sorry, because do you think it's completely different the business, I mean the market from America and Europe as a musician, as a
For jazz, yeah,
For
it's
jazz,
it's interesting you say created in the U.S. In the U.S., it's maybe taken for granted because it is ours.
Yeah,
okay.
And when it leave, it only isn't until it leaves the U.S. that it becomes an export.
yeah,
So I think typically around Europe and other places, Japan, other places in the world, the reception quite often is warmer than in the U.S.
really.
I mean,
With
from the
exception,
audience.
with exception.
Okay.
But it's kind of ironic that it takes something leaving its source to be recognized as maybe something special.
Yeah,
Because it's ours, yeah, we made that, who cares? You know?
yeah,
But wow, look at this thing, and yeah, I remember my first times touring and being really blown away by a lot of the response and the passion, particularly
How old were you?
throughout Europe. I was 23. I was right out of college. I was playing with a bass player, Avishai Cohen, that we were talking about.
With Shy Maestro as well?
Not yet. Shy
Not
was
yet?
like
Yes.
11 then. So
Okay.
I think this was, yeah, he joined us. He was like 18 a few years later. But Avishai's career was really strong already. He was playing with Chick Corea for a long time and was playing his own music. So I felt so lucky to be introduced to those crowds and to walk into a situation that was already strong and had a particular energy to it. Really exciting.
Yeah.
So, how you get this gig as a drummer? Question.
Yeah, I went to school. I went to university in New Jersey, which is just outside of New York City, and I was going to hear music every night, and I would hear Avishai's bands a lot. And my roommate in college had taken a lesson with Avishai, and we would just go to the show and hang out and have a beer after or something. And then I still don't know why or how this really happened, but we started a rock band together while we were still in college
With Avishai.
with Avishai.
Wow.
So we had a Monday night gig in the Lower East Side. We would play every Monday night, and we wrote songs and made a little recording. And yeah, and then when I graduated, he asked me to be a part of his trio.
Okay.
And then we were, yeah, it was like 6 years of touring and about 8 albums, I think, or 7 or 8 albums. And I feel like I went to university, and then I went to Avishai University
Yeah.
for 6 years and really learned about what the life on the road and what it takes to do this thing, you know.
Yeah.
I had a question about that. It's a little, you already answered, but the rehearse with this kind of bands, when someone invites you to tour or to record, how it works? You met to rehearse like 1 week, like here in Europe, not in Portugal, but for example in France, they have a lot of the artistic residencies
Yeah.
to work on music and to create. Do you do that or you did in America, or it's just you book a studio to rehearse a little bit in the afternoon and then we check the music?
Yeah, a little of both. Because we were all living in New York at the time, it was easy to get together. So it wasn't like a full week straight, but it would be many times over the
Okay.
course of a month before leaving. And yeah, and I knew all his records really well, and I was just trying to know as much about his music in advance, just so that even if it was new songs, the essence of what he was bringing was familiar.
Something like that.
Yeah.
You used to do that when someone invite you to play.
Well, I was just such a fan.
But
we were
I mean,
talking
nowadays, if
Oh
if
yeah,
you have a
I
call,
try.
you try
I
to
try. I believe a lot in absorption as a way to, even if I'm not at the drums playing along to a record, you're
be familiar.
driving around. Yeah, I really do think the music can get in so many different ways. So I just try to have it on at all times, surround myself with it, and trust that it'll be there somewhere. Yeah.
And what about to be a musician in this century? Like we have a lot of information nowadays, and how you deal with that? So sometimes I find myself like searching for music to listen, and I'm just like, okay, I like a lot of things like rock, hip hop, jazz, and and then okay, I'm gonna listen to this album, but I like this, and
Instead
then,
of listening, you are looking.
yeah, then I'm looking for like an alpha.
1 hour and then
I
okay.
don't know what I will listen. And how will deal with that? How you manage that?
Yeah, I think I'm always trying to balance. I think the art of resistance is getting more and more important, you know, and really carefully saying no to the things that aren't really a yes, you know?
But
Because some things are a yes and some things are a no, and then most of the things fall somewhere in between. So it's like, how much more time can we spend with the real confident yeses, you know? Because it's a shame to distract yourself from a yes, you know, with something that might end up not being a yes, you know. I try to balance, I try to keep up with even just the amount of music my friends are releasing and things. I'm very curious and trying to stay open, but I listen to the same stuff. I really, like I feel embarrassed when a common question, hey, what are you listening to? And the
Same.
and usually people are expecting maybe something new, but it's like, you know, John Coltrane and Bob Marley, and that's about it, you know, and the same records, a lot, because I feel like I mean, this is obvious, I'm not saying anything we don't know, but I feel like the more things you check out, it keeps you on the surface. You know, we only have so much time, so it's great to have these experiences with new things, but it really rules out the availability of going deeper. So for me, I've probably listened to A Love Supreme 1,100 times maybe over the course of 25 years, and I'm still finding new things, you know. And at this point, I have certain recordings and certain artists that feel like home. And for me, sometimes what I choose to listen to is not this intellectual pursuit or a pursuit of getting new things. It's to feel home and to feel at peace. And it's the things that I have the closest relationship with that bring me that. So it's when you're on hour 11 of the flight and you're just, what are we doing? We're still over the ocean. Come on, man. It's like I need to reach for some. I'm not, I don't have the energy to acquire new information maybe. So I reach for Bob Marley live at the Roxy. I hit play and everything's okay.
Brings you to the same place you already were.
And then
that's the thing. Music brings memories, right?
Exactly. And then I found actually. Sorry if we're. I don't know what we're doing, but time-wise, I found a fun little game to play on the road. You know, I always miss my family. I'm always homesick, you know, for any amount of time. And I've tried to figure out like ways to fight that. And it's, you know, with the senses. So obviously with music, that's our hearing, and you can very easily, okay, Love Supreme, I feel okay. You know, with like a smell. Sometimes you could have like an incense that you like, and or sometimes I make coffee in the room. I bring my coffee maker and I grind the beans, and then the room, it's a familiar environment. And then, you know, maybe there's, so then we have taste, some familiar, whatever it might be. And then usually visual That's the biggest key that I'm not home. Like all I have to do is open my eyes and I realize, wow, I'm not home.
Yeah.
Where am I?
How your body was at home?
So but with a really simple eyes closed and some music in headphones and some incense or something, I could be anywhere, but it's really the music to me is the most powerful element of that, like really transport.
That's true. There's a lot of recordings that I lived in Amsterdam 2 years and I discovered some music there, and nowadays I listen some music that I discovered in that time and brings me every time to there. Like,
Yeah.
It's like I'm driving my bicycle,
Totally.
my bicycle, all the time.
So powerful.
It's goes to the same place as you talk on the masterclass when everybody's has to find it our way, no?
Mm-hmm.
So when someone asks you what are you listening now, do you think they are expecting you give like the key? Okay, I'm listening this album, so it will help me as well. But you told for the musician the thing you are looking for is as a person. So when you listen to an album, it's not because the drumming, it's because the feeling of this music gives to you. So same album will not give for me
Exactly.
the same.
Exactly.
So do you think it's a good advice to okay, you should listen this album because this gives to me some feelings, or is better to speaking about the technical stuff?
Mm-hmm.
How do you because usually it's when you share music, it's about playing.
Right.
You should listen this drummer. You should listen, and I never someone come to me and say, oh, Mario, you should listen this music, this album, because touch me, remembers me. Do you think could be a nice way to start sharing music?
I share music.
You share with the music. You share like that.
Yeah, like I really like this feeling of when I listen to music.
And you talk to another person and you should listen to this album.
This traveling. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's fun to share in the more transactional, drummer way, musician way. That's fun. But I think the reality is all music. I think at the beginning of this. I think all music, and this for me, it might sound like I'm minimizing the art, but for me it's very helpful. I think all music is simply a soundtrack to our own experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
By definition, it is. There's no way you can have music without an experience. So a lot of times it feels like I'm going to a concert or I'm playing a concert and these people are going to listen. Actually, well, maybe, but it's simply a soundtrack for one's experience.
Yeah.
And this really became vivid for me in playing big festivals. And last summer in Porto, Primavera Sound in Porto. So you can't see where the people, you can't even see where the people end, know? And it's like, maybe it would be tempting to think, they're here for me. They're here to listen to me. It's like, well, that's certainly not the case. And especially you see people, everyone is having a unique experience, and we happen to be the soundtrack of that experience. And I really think, like, if you go to that for 2 or 3 days, what are your memories you're going to take? You're going to remember the time with your friends and that was cool. I saw Kendrick Lamar, but it was pouring and it was so muddy, and I left and there was mud all up my leg. Like that. That's what I take away from being there.
Yeah.
Maybe some really small musical moments. I remember standing under a little branch that was barely covering me.
And raining a lot.
Pouring, and it was, but it was so worth it. And it's such a beautiful memory, and the music was a large part of it, but not the only thing. So I think it's important to leave room for all the other elements of the experience to help shape how the music hits you.
Yeah, because otherwise it's like just science, right?
Yeah.
Like just.
Yeah, and also I tried to get better about not leading someone into a certain perspective, or not over dictating what someone should think of something. Especially that was big for me with my son. I found myself, hey, you should listen to this, and this is why. Oh, so John Coltrane, he's the greatest saxophone player, and I'm telling him all these things that I feel about it,
Maybe for them.
and I'm limiting his personal experience with it.
Yeah.
It's true.
So it doesn't mean that I don't want to share it with him, but I want to leave room for his own interpretation, so that it's his and not this thing that his dad showed him.
That's dangerous, because when you talk to someone like that, the expectations are high. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna listen, and
maybe you
if
don't
I don't like
it,
it, it's like, oh man, I was expecting more. You know?
I think
But that honest reaction is beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, of course.
and it's the same music, like a lot, and another person
Yeah,
hates
yeah,
it. So just to finish, we are talking about music, about CDs. Do you want to say one album for you? It's like touch you listening from since you are a kid until nowadays.
Okay. Since I was a kid.
Or
Well, I started playing drums in 1995. So the music that was on the radio and on MTV was Nirvana and Red Hot Chili Peppers and Soundgarden and all. That's what brought me to music.
music.
So, yeah, one of the first records I bought was Nirvana in Utero.
Yeah. And still,
So,
you still
it's still,
this patient.
it's an amazing feeling. And, I wish I could almost still play the way I played when I was 15. And I can't, because now I know all this stuff that I can't ignore. And the way I played then was, there was nothing, it was just
organic.
Exactly. So, but yeah, I would say Nirvana and Utero, that's really like at the very beginning of my path.
Right.
And you?
For me, I loved Keith Jarrett's Dark Intervals. It's
Okay.
a solo concert live, and I listened thousands of times.
Cool.
It's like, because it's about feelings. It's about the way he play. Because
Is it
I'm not-
improvised?
It's improvised.
Cool.
So I'm not a pianist, as you know, but it was good to listen just the music, not the
Beautiful.
maths.
Yeah. I'm addicted. Now I like a lot of different things, but I'm addicted
To listen to
No, it's not that thing. I'm addicted to No Names. This rapper from America,
Cool.
and then I discovered her 5 years ago, and I never stopped listening to her. It's like, I like it a lot.
Cool.
So at the end, it's all about listening music and play music and life. Thank you.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being here. Thank you both for participating here on
Thank you,
Tiny
Mário.
Lab Talk. We'd like to invite everyone to the concert of Mark Giliana and the Jazz Orchestra of University of Aveiro tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. in the Reitoria main hall, just on side.
It's late.
See you in Campus Jazz, the University of Aveiro Jazz Festival, on stage in Aveiro until June 6th. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, very nice. Thank you very nice.
Amazing work.